When you're setting up a new treatment room, the first question that keeps popping up is, will this piece of equipment actually make my workflow smoother, or am I just adding another expensive thing that sits idle? That hesitation is real, especially when you've seen a handful of all-in-one tables that promise everything and then deliver a lot of compromise. I'm going to walk through exactly what the Icoget Professional Esthetician Bed with LED light does in a day-to-day salon or clinic, where it shines, and where you might find yourself wishing you'd chosen something else. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest thing that separates a decent table from a truly functional one is how it behaves when you're actually treating a client. The Icoget bed is fully electric, which means you're not wrestling with hand crank levers or awkward foot pedals. The 3-motor system lets you raise, lower, and tilt the backrest independently, and there's a second control panel on the chair side for the therapist. In practice, that dual control layout means you can stay at the client's side, adjust the recline with a thumb press, and keep your hands free for the treatment itself. I've seen a couple of estheticians who usually have a partner or an assistant constantly adjusting the table. With this setup they can handle the entire session solo, which cuts down on staffing costs. Now imagine a typical facial protocol. You start with a cleansing step, then move to a mask, maybe a light therapy, followed by a massage. With a manual table you'd have to pause, get down, manually crank the backrest up for the mask, then lower it again for the massage. Those small interruptions add up, especially when you're trying to keep a client relaxed. The electric adjustment on this Icoget model is smooth enough that the transition feels almost like a single fluid motion. The LED light built into the headrest is a nice touch for treatments that need precise illumination. Think microneedling or LED therapy because you don't have to bring in a separate lamp that can be knocked over or need extra wiring. One of the practical strengths I've noticed is the ergonomic support built into the surface. The cushion has a contour that follows the natural curve of the spine, which reduces pressure points during longer procedures like body wraps or extended massage sessions. That design isn't just about comfort, it also means you spend less time readjusting the client's position to avoid discomfort. In a busy clinic where you might be booking back-to-back appointments, that little time saver can translate into more slots per day. On the flip side, the table's fully electric mechanism does draw a noticeable amount of power, and it requires a dedicated outlet that can handle the load. If you're setting up in a home studio with limited electrical capacity, you may need to run a new line or use a surge protector rated for higher amps. That's a hidden cost that many buyers overlook until the table arrives. Also, the 3-motor system, while smooth, does add a layer of complexity when it comes to maintenance. If a motor ever fails, you'll likely need a technician rather than a simple DIY fix, which could mean a longer downtime than a manually operated table. Who should consider buying this bed? If you run a medium-sized salon, a medical spa, or a dermatology practice where you routinely perform multi-step facial or body treatments, the time you save by not having to manually adjust the table can quickly pay for the higher upfront price. The LED headrest is especially useful for professionals who incorporate phototherapy, because it eliminates the need for an extra handheld light. The dual control feature also benefits solo practitioners who want to stay in control of the client's position without calling for assistance. On the other hand, if you're a freelance esthetician who works out of a rented chair in a larger boutique, or if you only offer quick services like eyebrow shaping or basic waxing, the extra motorized functionality might be overkill. A simpler, manually adjustable table would likely meet your needs and cost less, while also being easier to move between rooms. Similarly, if your treatment space is already cramped and you're concerned about the table's footprint, you'll find the Icoget model a bit bulkier than a compact manual option. Another practical consideration is the aesthetic. The off-white finish gives the bed a clean, clinical look that blends well with both spa-like decor and more sterile medical environments. It's not a glossy white that can show every smudge, but it does reflect light enough to keep the room feeling open. In my experience, that visual neutrality helps clients feel more at ease because it doesn't scream equipment the way a heavily chrome or blacked-out table can. In terms of durability, The product is built with a steel frame that feels sturdy enough to handle a steady flow of clients. The surface coating resists scratches and can be wiped down with standard disinfectants, which is a must for any medical-grade environment. I haven't seen any reports of the electric components overheating in the Limited.